It's the year 1429. France is on the brink of collapse, gripped by war and despair. For over 90 years, the French and English have clashed in the relentless conflict known as the 100 Years' War. But one event, unexpected and miraculous, would change the course of history. This is the story of the Siege of Orléans and the rise of an unlikely hero, Joan of Arc. Quick detour to understand. Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, also known as Jeanne d'Arc, was born around 1412 in Domremy, a small village in northeastern France. She was the daughter of peasant farmers and grew up in a humble religious household. During her childhood, France was in turmoil, embroiled in the 100 Years' War with England. Large portions of the country were occupied by English and Burgundian forces, and the French crown was weak and divided. At the age of 13, Joan began to experience visions and hear voices which she believed were sent by God. According to her, these voices were those of Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. They told her to save France from its enemies and ensure that Charles VII, the uncrowned Dauphin, would ascend to the throne as the rightful king. Despite being a teenage girl with no military experience, Joan was determined to follow these divine instructions. In 1429, she convinced a local noble to escort her to the Dauphin's court in Chinon. There, Joan's confidence and apparent piety won over Charles VII, who allowed her to accompany a French army to the besieged city of Orléans. Her arrival marked a dramatic turning point in the war. Joan's faith and leadership inspired the French forces, leading to the lifting of the Siege of Orléans in May 1429. She continued to lead French troops to several key victories, culminating in Charles VII's coronation at Reims later that year. However, Joan's success was short-lived. In 1430, she was captured by Burgundian forces and sold to the English. Accused of heresy, witchcraft, and wearing men's clothing, she was subjected to a politically motivated trial. On May 30th, 1431, Joan was burned at the stake in Rouen at just 19 years old. Orléans, a vital city on the Loire River, was the key to controlling central France. In October 1428, the English army, led by Thomas Montagu, the Earl of Salisbury, laid siege to the city. If Orléans fell, so too would the French cause. Okay, back on the road we go. The defenders of Orléans were outnumbered and outgunned. English forces encircled the city, constructing fortified positions and bombarding its walls. Supplies dwindled, and morale plummeted. For months it seemed inevitable that the city would fall, but in the depths of despair, a beacon of hope emerged. A 17-year-old peasant girl from Domremy, named Joan of Arc, claimed she had visions from God. These visions instructed her to lead France to victory and crown Charles VII as the rightful king. Joan's arrival at the French court was met with skepticism. How could an illiterate farm girl possibly turn the tide of war? But Charles, desperate for any help, decided to give her a chance. Dressed in armor and carrying her distinctive banner, Joan was sent to Orléans with a relief army. Joan's presence electrified the French defenders. She inspired a renewed sense of purpose and unity among the troops and citizens. On April 29, 1429, she entered the besieged city, bringing desperately needed supplies and hope. In the days that followed, Joan led the French forces in a series of daring assaults against the English. Despite her lack of formal military training, her courage and divine conviction rallied the troops. On May 7th, the French launched a final assault on the English stronghold at Les Tourelles. Joan herself was injured, but returned to the battlefield, inspiring her troops to victory. By May 8th, the English lifted the siege and retreated. The seemingly impossible had been achieved. The Siege of Orléans marked a turning point in the 100 Years' War, paving the way for future French victories. Joan of Arc would go on to lead more campaigns, but her journey ended tragically. Captured and executed by the English in 1431, she became a martyr and a symbol of French resilience. Today, Joan is remembered as a saint and a national hero. Her triumph at Orléans reminds us of the power of faith, courage, and determination, even in the darkest of times. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories from history. Until next time, stay curious.